Raider Nation, ask yourself this. If you were Davante Adams, could you trust Josh McDaniels at this point? Could you trust him after what he has done? Davante Adams spoke up about the Derek Carr benching just yesterday, and on 2 different platforms, he went out of his way to say that the reason he is a Raider is because of Derek Carr. First, in an interview in the locker room, let's check it out.
You know, him being one of my really good friends, and you know the reason why I came here in the first place. I mean, I wouldn't be here right now if he wasn't if he wasn't here. So I think everybody knows how I feel about him. And
Derek tonight and talk to him a little bit.
Well, we spoke already, so we'll we talked. Probably won't talk again tonight, but yeah, we spoke already.
And as you can see, he goes out of his way to say that, and you could tell he's upset. He said he's going to talk to Derek Carr later on in the day. This guy lives next to Derek Carr. He literally lives next to the guy, talks to him every single day, talked to him before the benching news was announced, talked to him after, and probably talked a third time in just that day. The reason why he joined the Raiders was because he thought Derek Carr provided some stability at the quarterback position, and Josh McDaniels must have sold him on the idea that Derek Carr is going to be the QB for the future, or else he would have never ever left Green Bay. Check out this clip from earlier in the year where Davante Adams talked about why part of the reason he left Green Bay is because he didn't want to play with Jordan Love. He didn't want to play with some young guy. He wanted stability at the quarterback position.
I love Jordan Love, especially. He's a great guy, but you know, I got aspirations of doing really big things and being remembered, and I just, you know, it just wasn't really a point in my career that I was willing to sacrifice Aaron not being there, you know, after a year or two. So my decision was to be here.
And now Davante Adams has no idea who the hell his quarterback could be in the future. He's just gone through probably one of the worst seasons in his entire career, and he knows, because he's a pretty smart guy and he's around the Raiders quite often, that all of this does not fall on Derek Carr. And actually, another guy who's pretty close to the Raiders and plays a lot of games with them had some things to say about Derek Carr and how Derek Carr actually helped them win games this year.
He won a lot of games for us, and even down the stretch here, he was the reason we won a lot of them. Just an amazing leader, and hope to play with him again.
And so you have Hunter Renfrow, also good friends with Derek Carr, probably not happy about this situation and saying, we've won a lot of these games because of Derek Carr. Now Davante Adams is in this weird situation where he could have been in Green Bay. He did not have to deal with the disaster of Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels, who it appears is almost sabotaging Derek Carr at times to scapegoat him, and maybe this is why that 1 year out in the contract was originally established. It wasn't just a 1 year out so we can restructure and get some more weapons in the future, or just a prove it year for a 9-year franchise QB. No, he never wanted Derek Carr. He set him up for failure this year, and I think Hunter Renfrow going out of his way and saying, hey, we won a lot of games because of DC this year, and Davante Adams not looking too happy about this situation, even posting on Instagram in addition to the interview in the locker room. Davante Adams went out of his way to say the reason I'm a Raider is Derek Carr, this man in the picture right here, both of them at Fresno State. We know they have that Fresno State connection. The reason I'm a Raider, this man gave everything he had, one of the most disciplined and loving people I know, got my brother's back through whatever, and if you can't respect it, excuse me, but F you, love you, bruh. So he is obviously not happy with the situation, and now he has no idea who his quarterback is going to be in the future, and he has to play these next 2 games with Jarrett Stidham when he was sold on the idea that Derek Carr would be his QB for several years. And if you're Davante Adams, yeah, you're paid a lot of money. Yeah, if the Raiders would get rid of you next year, they would eat $31 million in dead money, so you're kind of stuck in a way. But how do you feel about being lied to? You know, yeah, you moved your family out to Vegas. Yeah, you bought a house next to Derek Carr. You left Green Bay, something that would probably be going well. And remember, the Green Bay Packers offered Davante Adams the same contract as the Raiders, if not more money, but he wanted to go play with Derek Carr. He wanted to have this stability at the quarterback position, and he wanted to be a Raider and move over to the West Coast. So hey, he could have been in Green Bay right now, still with the bag, but Josh McDaniels sold him on a lie, and now he's stuck. But all in all, we know it was not rational for Davante Adams to leave the Packers for the Raiders. That was not considered the smartest decision, but you know what? He wanted to take a leap of faith, and he wanted to do something that he liked and maybe would have more fun doing, which was playing with Derek Carr. So maybe Davante Adams could kind of break rationality again, where it makes sense to probably stay with the Raiders. You already moved your whole family out there. You're going to get paid a lot of money regardless of who the quarterback is. But when you have that feeling that you've been lied to, and when you know you've been lied to, this this year, and when you know you can't trust your coach, do you really want to be unhappy for the rest of your career having to work with somebody like Josh McDaniels, having to work with this guy who you can't trust? Because even if Josh McDaniels tries to tell Davante Adams, oh, don't worry, we're going to get this quarterback this year and everything's going to be great next year, how could he trust the guy? He's already been burned once. Once you get burned once, the joke's on you if you get burned a second time. Now, I don't think the Derek Carr to the Raiders situation can be solved like Josina Anderson is implying here. I think the bridge has already been burned there. Derek Carr is not going to be with the Raiders. The Raiders have straight up disrespected him too much, where I don't think he is going to play there, even if they even tried to convince him, hey, let's work this out. I don't see this happening at this point. But could Adams and Carr force themselves onto another team? Sure, why not? Or could Carr go elsewhere and maybe Adams decides to leave? I don't want to contribute to the Raiders anymore. I don't want to roll with McDaniels anymore. Is that a possibility? I think so. Because when you look at the way this was done, John Middlecoff saying that this is a low loser franchise move, and this is obviously probably one of the most embarrassing moments for the league right now, for the Raiders to bench Derek Carr these last 2 games. And not only just bench him, it's not about that. It's sending him home when he could be there. He could be there and he would be fine being there. But they decided to send him home. They pressured him to be sent home so he's not a distraction. Meanwhile, as Miles Simmons of Pro Football Talk pointed out, Matt Ryan, he's been benched twice this year on the Colts. This guy, he's a long-term vet and he has no problem being there benched and being in the facility. He wants to be part of the team. And I guarantee that's the same thing with Derek Carr. But Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler and company must have pressured this guy to go home. And by the way, I don't want to hear this crap about, oh, this decision was all Mark Davis and it had nothing to do with Josh McDaniels. That is complete BS. Mark Davis does not give a shit about the football team. All Mark Davis has proven since he's taken over is he wants to be hands off and let the GM and the head coach do whatever they want to do. So Mark Davis would have signed off on absolutely anything Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler wanted to do. But what Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler wanted to do was sign Carr to a bullshit contract where there's a 1 year out and then scapegoat him for the failure of this season so they can get rid of him, the fan base can turn on him, and they can move on and get their own guy. That's what they wanted. Mark Davis, guarantee, could give less of a shit if the Raiders have Carr or do not have Carr. And also, if you were planning on getting rid of him this whole time, which anybody with common sense knows that was the plan this whole time for Josh McDaniels and Ziegler, then why didn't you just get rid of this guy in the offseason? Why did you have to lure Davante Adams here, have him waste all his time, and have him move his whole family out of here when you sold him on a lie and you trapped his ass with the bullshit Raiders? That's what Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler did. They trapped Davante Adams on the Raiders, and Davante Adams these last couple of days has done nothing but make it clear that the reason why he is on the Raiders is because of Derek Carr. Either way, I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I think that the Raiders are going to get Brady. I think their only shot at keeping Davante Adams now is to sell him on the idea that, the Raiders are going to get Tom Brady and Goodell and the refs are probably going to help the Raiders out to hoist that Lombardi with Tom Brady in the 2023 season when the Super Bowl is hosted in Las Vegas in 2024. So probably the best way to sell staying on the Raiders for Davante Adams at this point after he's been screwed over. But who knows? Maybe he's stuck. Antonio Brown, we all thought was stuck on the Steelers prior to being traded to the Raiders. Remember? Steelers ate a crap load of dead money for AB. Davante Adams, he doesn't really have a bad reputation around the league. And I'm sure if he demanded to leave and said, hey, you must trade me, I don't give a crap if you're eating dead money, just like AB did to the Steelers, I don't think a lot of people around the league would blame the guy. I think a lot of people around the league would say, go Davante, let's go. So hey, the ball is in his court. We'll see what happens. Like this video if you haven't yet. Subscribe to this channel for more Raiders content. My name is WiFiWillie. Peace out, and I hope you have a good one.